Hi everyone and welcome to today's session. We're going to be focusing on some gentle movements and some stretching and a little bit of self-massage. This is just a really nice way to finish off the week, and because we've done quite a lot of heavy stuff with our stability and strength sessions this week, this is just a nice way that if you do have any DOMs, you can like stretch some of them out, get yourself moving a little bit without it being too intense. As you know, it is very important to rest your body, so this is kind of like a pre-rest session, just so you know some things that you can do while you're meant to be resting, because I know, especially for a lot of pole dancers, it's really hard to take that time off. Okay, but I do highly recommend that you take a couple of days off every week, just so that you can chill and let your body heal, especially if you do have DOMs from any of the sessions that we've done. It's very important that you let your body do its thing, naturally heal itself, and then get back to it when you're feeling nice and strong again. So in terms of the equipment that we've got for today, so I've got myself a foam roller, I've also got a massage ball, and I've got a towel which I've just rolled up here, and also just a broom handle for one of the exercises as well. Okay, so we can alternate between the massage ball and the foam roller, so if you don't have one or the other, then it's okay. You'll just have to sort of change the exercise a little bit. I just thought I'd use both today so I can show you my favourite variations of the different movements that we're going to do. Okay, so let's get started. So for our first exercise today, we're going to use our foam roller. So you're going to bring yourself face up, and you're going to bring your foam roller just into your upper back, so it's going to go sort of just below your shoulder blades is fine to start with. Okay, we're going to bring the hands behind the head, just interlocking the fingers and bringing the elbows together. We're then going to tuck and lift the bum. Now this is an optional one. If you're feeling like super tired, you don't want to do too much, then just keep your bum on the floor. But by lifting up, we're just going to get a little bit more intensity and a little bit more pressure through the upper back. Okay, so a little bit of a tuck and lift up. We're then going to extend backwards as far as you can go. And then once you get to that end point, you're going to open your elbows. We're then going to close and then pull ourselves back in, okay? And we're going to just keep going with that. So just moving on to our second one now. Making sure you don't open till right at the end. That's 2. 3. 4. And this is going to be our last one in this area. Leaning back, opening out, and that's 5. Pulling it back in, and then relaxing your bum down if you had it lifted. Okay, we're now going to move the foam roller just slightly further up the back. Okay, so we're just going to do a couple of different sections of the upper back, and we're going to just do the same thing again. So lifting up if you want to, squeezing through the abs, and try and keep this nice and still. Okay, we're trying when we're doing this exercise to not let the lower back take over. We're trying to isolate the upper back. Okay, so tucking, interlock the hands behind your head, open out first. You might not be able to arch as much because we're a bit higher at the back, and opening out the elbows. Okay, that's 1. Bring the elbows and tuck back through. Let's keep going. 2. 3. 4. And last one in this area, leaning back, opening, and bringing it back through. Okay, so we're going to go just a tiny bit higher up the back now. So at this point, you just want to be careful that it doesn't like kind of slide out from under your shoulders. So we're just moving up a little bit at a time. Okay, and just one thing to say before we do the last section. If you find that your spine starts to click a little bit, please don't worry, it's okay if it clicks, as long as it's not painful and you're not forcing it to click, okay, then that is absolutely fine. Just natural pops and clicks are absolutely not anything to worry about, okay? So let's set ourselves back up again, tucking under with the lower abs, leaning back, opening out the elbows, tucking back in and rolling through. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. Last one now. Opening out, bringing it back in and coming through. And then you can just sit up for a second, give yourself a little shake out. Hopefully that all felt quite nice, okay? This shouldn't feel really intense or uncomfortable. I know sometimes when you get like a sports massage, you do a lot of these techniques and they feel quite painful. When you do them yourself, you want to stay in the kind of comfort zone, all right? So let's move on to the next exercise. We're gonna work out, kind of get out some of the tension in the lats, okay? So we're gonna lie on our sides, and you're just going to try and bring the foam roller into a squidgy part of your lat underneath your armpit here, okay? So what you don't want to do is be on too much kind of bony areas, all right? So some people might find it a little bit easier than others, depends how big your lats are, okay? But just find a squidgy area, and it might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but again, we're just going for that kind of good pain feeling where it feels productive, not like an injury pain. We're going to straighten out that bottom arm. You're just going to rest your head down, just putting some weight into that area. And then your top arm is just going to come up and over. And that's just going to put a nice bit of weight into that pressure point that we're on. And then you can just bring the arm back up, okay? And we're going to just keep going with that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and last one in this area, and that's 5. Now if for some reason it's painful for you to move that shoulder, then you don't need to do it. You can lie like this and you can even just sort of lift your body up and back down, okay, rather than moving the arm. So it's completely up to you, just do what feels comfortable. So we're just going to find like another section now of the lat, okay? So you might want to roll back a little bit or even drop forward a little bit, whatever feels comfortable to you. And we're going to go back into that same position. So I've just slightly rotated backwards and I found another nice juicy bit for me to work on, okay? We're going to go for another 5 of these movements, remembering not to do the arm movements if you don't want to. That's 2, 3, 4, and last one, that's 5. Okay, so hopefully you found some nice juicy bits there to work on. We're just going to do those 2 for now. However, if you want to pause the video and do a couple more sections, then absolutely feel free to do so. Okay, you might find that it's very useful just to do some of that, and it just, your arm feels so much more open. Okay, so let's change sides again, finding a nice squidgy, juicy part to get into. Productive, good pain we're going with, remember? Relax the head down, and let's do some arm movements. So 1, 2, make sure you keep breathing as well. 3, 4, and last one, 5. And then remember, we're just going to move to a slightly different point, and this time I'm actually going to rotate forward, and that gets into a really nice point. And so yeah, you can move as much as you need to. If you feel that you get any like referred pain, as long as it's comfortable, productive, kind of loosening off pain, you should be able to feel the difference. Then that's a trigger point, and that's okay. All right, and hopefully it will start to ease as you do more of this. If it feels like a bad sharp pain, or like there's nerve tingling or numbness or anything like that, then please come away from that area, okay? So let's do another 5 movements once you found that nice, good, productive pain. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and last one, and that's 5. Okay, and come out of that, remembering that if you want to do a bit more of that, then you absolutely can. Just pause the video and do a little bit more. Okay, we're going to grab massage ball here. So I always prefer a massage ball rather than like a peanut or anything like that, because I feel like you can be a bit more specific. I only ever really use a peanut if I'm doing stuff around my spine area, like so it goes either side of the spine, but I actually prefer to use a foam roller for that as well. So but you can use whatever you like, and you can still do these same techniques if you haven't got a normal massage ball. If you only have a peanut, that's okay. All right, so we're going to do a little bit more kind of intense, I'm going to say intense, where it's just a bit more pinpointed now with the ball on the back of the shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to lie face up, and we're going to bring that ball underneath the shoulder, so it's on the back of the shoulder blade. Okay, so find a comfortable bit. It's quite a bony area. I'm just going to bring it up a bit more. That's better. Okay, you can relax your head down as well. And just, again, finding a point that feels like nice and juicy and like a good, productive, sort of intense feeling. Okay, no pain, no numbness or tingling, please. Find a nice, comfortable part. And then we're just going to do some arm movements, okay? So you can really do what you want, but I'll talk you through some specific ones so that you know that you have got a little sequence if you want to take this away with you. So we're first just going to bring the arm up and back down, okay? So you can go as high as you want. You can bring it all the way over your head if you want to. But for me, this just feels comfortable, so I'm just going to do that. And if you have got any kind of discomfort or anything and it sort of gets worse, then please move from the area. But if it starts to ease off, then that's really good. That's what we want it to do. Okay, once you've done a few of those, we're then going to just move it again just to another point, and then I'll show you another movement. We'll bring the arm out to the side and you're just going to bring it across your body and back down. Okay, if you find a little bit and you're like, oh, I just really want to hold it there, that's absolutely fine, just go for it. I'm just sort of doing like 5 movements in each direction. And you can do it at whatever speed you want, hence I'm not going to count you through these ones because I want you to just do what feels comfortable to you. Okay, and then the last movement I want to show you, again, if you want to move to another point, absolutely go for it. I'm going to keep my arm out to the side, and this time I'm just going to do some rotation. So I'm just going to drop my hand down and then drop my knuckles down the other way. Again, just doing the speed that you want to. And if you're not liking any of the movements that I'm showing you, then you don't have to do them, that's okay. Just keep breathing through it, finding those comfortable points. Okay, and then we can just sit up and just have a little feel of if your shoulders sort of feel different to each other. So like for me, this one's now feeling much looser and a bit lighter than this side. And now we're going to do the same on the other side, so hopefully they get a little bit even. But sometimes it's nice just to compare what you're feeling to each side so that you know you're sort of doing something and that it feels good rather than sore or any sort of bad feelings at all. Okay, so finding another little point that you want to get to, we'll start with the going overhead. Just go into parts where, so I feel a bit more comfortable to go further up overhead this time, and that's fine. So if you want to do a bigger movement, that's cool. I'm just going to do 5 of each. I'm not going to count you through it though, just do it at your own pace. And then just finding another little spot, bring the arm out to the side this time, or whenever you're ready, and just wrap across and back down. And then if you're ready to move on, you can stay in the same place or you can move it around. And we're just going to do our internal and external rotations. Okay. So we're now going to move the ball again, and we're going to bring it into the upper back. So what I want you to do, I'm going to show you sat up first. I want you to get the ball and bring it just on the inside of your shoulder blade, so it's on where your rhomboids are. So your shoulder blades are here, you can see the sort of bone sticking out. I want you to come in between there and obviously your spine, where you can feel the bone there too. Anywhere in between those 2 bony landmarks. So I want you to just, again, find a little area that feels nice, but productive. Okay, so we're going to lie back. So again, this is like a really nice time for you to use your foam roller or to use a peanut, because you can do both sides at the same time. I just like to do one at a time, and I get quite intense then into that area using the massage ball. So just use whichever equipment you want. And what we're going to do is we're going to just have the hands out in front, and we're going to round out. So we're just bringing the shoulder blades away from each other, and then from here you're either just going to hold and breathe into that area, which actually feels really nice. So if you want to do that with me, that's fine. And it is quite intense, so actually just holding is quite good. If it's a bit too intense and you start moving around too much, it can sometimes be a bit too much. Let's just take a few more deep breaths here. And then we're just going to move the ball either slightly up or slightly down, just wherever you want to go. And again, just trying to like lift the arm up slightly. If you're doing both sides at the same time, you can lift both shoulders at the same time. Just try and open out between the shoulder blade and the spine. Okay, so really getting into those muscle tissues. And what you can do, so this kind of feels right in this place for me to just do some slight rotations with the shoulder. So if you feel like at any point it just feels nice to do anything like that, then absolutely go for it. It's really, all of this stuff is about just being very body aware. Okay, and I'm just going to move it down again. So I'm going to just come into a slightly lower area for the last section. And actually here, I just want to stay where I am. I don't even want to lift my arm forward, so I'm just going to rest on that. You do whatever feels good for you and just breathe through that. So while we're just sat on this kind of area here, I just want to say that when you're doing trigger pointing, so that's what this is, it's trigger pointing, we're finding areas of tension, of tightness, and we're just relaxing into them by putting pressure on it. You don't want to do this too much, okay? This is why I've only done one session a week on this sort of stuff, because if you do it too much, you can actually bruise yourself, it can become a bit too tender, okay? We're just going to swap sides, okay, so just lifting up the opposite shoulder, and just bring the ball in between the shoulder blade and the spine, and you can again lift up that shoulder blade if you want to. Okay, yeah, so if you do too much, you can get bruised and tender. Like, you wouldn't have a sports massage every day, would you? Because, you know, the day after a sports massage is usually a little bit tender, and then things start to feel better after. So it's similar with this. Obviously not quite as intense as having someone else massage you, but we just want to respect it a little bit and only do a couple of times a week, really. Okay, and we're just going to move it slightly higher. And again, so this higher point, it seems to feel quite nice to do those kind of like shoulder rotations to really get in there. And then we're just going to move it slightly lower again. And we can just sit and hold it into that place. And just breathe, try and relax into it. And generally speaking, the more you can relax into it, the less painful it's going to be. So it's the same with, again, when you're having a massage, if someone's got their elbow in your back or something, if you can relax into it, it's going to feel much nicer. But it's also just good to know your limits. Just do a couple more deep breaths here. And then we'll gently come out of it. So just bring that massage ball out of the way and we can come up to a seated position. Okay, and give yourself a little shake out, have a little feel, see how it feels, if it feels any different, hopefully a bit better. All right, and this next section, we're gonna just do a little bit of work on the neck itself, okay? So I'm gonna show you my favorite techniques, which I personally find really useful. I find that just passively stretching the neck, for me, just doesn't do very much. Like, I get a tight neck, but and most pole dancers find this because of all the stuff we do on the pole, the flexibility training we do. We have flexible necks, you know, the neck flexibility usually isn't the issue. It's usually the strength or trigger points, so using a massage ball, just more active techniques to try and release it off is usually much more beneficial. So I'm just going to show you my favorite ones today. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to use this massage ball again. Again, you can use a peanut. You can actually use a foam roller for this, but you would use it more lying down. But it's going to be the same technique of finding a point, putting some pressure in it, and just doing some movements with the neck. But I will talk you through it as we go. Just use whichever equipment you want, okay? So grab in my ball. I'm just going to bring it onto my neck. And you can bring it anywhere you want, basically. So just find a point of tension. And I'm actually going to get my opposite hand, and I'm going to sort of hook in to a muscle. So you can see like that taut bit of muscle, your upper traps, which does get quite tight on most people. I'm just going to move my top out the way a little bit, and I'm just going to sort of hook in to that area of my upper trap. Okay, and I can feel a really nice pressure here now, so I'm just using my opposite arm to pull that ball into the neck, and then I'm just going to side bend my neck away from the ball and bring it back up. So we've got a couple of different things going on here. So we have kind of pressure from the ball itself, but then we've also got a bit of tension that we've now, because of where the ball is, we've got a bit of tension on that part of the muscle. So we're getting a bit more of an in-depth stretch on those kind of upper parts of the fibres of the trap, because we've stopped it from stretching anything past the ball. So it does feel a little bit more intense. And again, I'm not counting you through it because I want you to just go at your own pace. Okay, one thing we can try, so once you go off to the side, you can then turn your nose down towards the floor and then bring it back up to the ceiling, and that one feels really nice. Bit of extra rotation. And just keep breathing. Okay, let's change sides. It can be a little bit sore, kind of not sore, but your arm gets a bit achy from holding the ball in place. So you can just sort of swap sides as you go, so you haven't got to just hold it in one place. Okay, so we'd start just going off to the side first. And it should just feel very nice and satisfying, just to get a nice stretch through the neck. And then when you're ready, you can start rotating the head up and down, maintaining that side bend as you go. And then gently releasing that. And you can do that in any area. So like the upper traps are the main area that gets tight for people usually. But you can even just press into the side of the neck, and you can do a little bit of massage here. So if you just bring the ball into the palm of your hand, and you can just massage. This one's a bit harder to do with a peanut or a foam roller. As I was saying, there's some techniques which are my favourite with certain types of equipment. Bearing in mind that you can also use like a tennis ball for this. You don't have to use a specific massage ball. And just slightly side bending the head just to get a bit of a stretch as you massage through. Very beneficial, and it feels lush. I don't know if you've ever had your neck massage before, but it's glorious, and this is just a little insight into that. And I'm now just sort of moving up and down the neck as well, so I'm not just staying in one place. Just go wherever it feels good, and let's change side, remembering the wall. So it can be a little bit intense otherwise, and we really don't want to make it tender. We just want things to feel good. So I'm just doing some very gentle circles with a bit of pressure through the palm. And just moving my head around. It feels good, you know. Move your head up and down, side to side, whatever you like. Okay, and then just give your head a little roll out. The last technique I want to show you with the massage ball for the neck is, so if you ever have had a neck massage, I'm just going to show you so you can see. This kind of little area here, so right into the occiput, which is underneath the skull, it just feels really nice to put pressure in there. And so if you've ever had it where a massage therapist sort of goes up the neck and pulls on that bit, it feels really good. So you can kind of replicate that a little bit with your massage ball. We're actually going to do it lead down, okay? Obviously we can't get the pull so much because that would, you know, require an outside force, but we can get the pressure. So I'm going to bring the massage ball into that kind of nice area underneath the skull. I don't know if you can see, but I'm using my other hand here to stabilize it. Obviously you can use any hand. I just want you to see what I'm doing. So, and literally all I'm going to do here is just try and bring my chin down slightly, so I'm opening out that space where all those little tiny muscles are. And I'm just going to let the weight of my head put pressure into the massage ball. And if you get the right place, it feels lovely. This is really, really good for if you get tension headaches as well. And just keep breathing into that. And just have a place. If you haven't found it straight away, bearing in mind that I've had a lot of practice doing all this stuff. It's all my favourite stuff to do, so it might take you a couple of goes to find the right spot. And that's okay, just find the spot, and then we're just going to take some nice deep breaths. and hopefully that tension should start to relieve itself as you hold it. And when you feel like you've got quite a lot out of it, you can then move it to another point. So I'm going to move it across to the other side, and then just find another little part, and you can even shut your eyes and just relax in this position. And then just feel free to move around. So I'm just going to turn my head off to the side, and I can get another little bit, another juicy bit. And again, just breathing into that. Trying to stay pretty still when you're on it. You don't really need to do any movements here. And then again, so I'm just kind of going with like 4 main areas, because there are 4 little muscles which sit underneath the occiput, which feel amazing to have massaged, and generally have good results when I'm massaging my clients. For example, I have really good results with people that suffer from headaches and all of this area massage. So if you are one of those people like me, I also suffer from headaches, this is really, really good, amongst other things, but this is a great place to start. Okay, let's just take a couple more deep breaths and then we'll come out of this one. Remembering that if you do want more time, just pause the video and do a little bit more. There's no set right or wrong way to do this stuff. Okay, and come out of that. All right, we can get rid of the massage ball for now, okay? And I'm going to show you another technique to release the neck, the last one for the neck, using the towel. Okay, so this is like a self-mobilization. So it's like, the point is that we're mobilizing the joints themselves. So you need to have, when you're doing true mobilization, you have to have an external force to get into those joints. Okay, so I'm going to bring my towel around the back of my head, and I'm just going to pull down the towel. And as I put pressure through the towel, I'm just going to look up to the ceiling. And then as I come back down, I'm going to release the pressure on the towel. So you won't really see me doing it much, but hopefully that just explains what you're going to do. So I'm going to pull, 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 and look back, and then release as I come forward, okay? And we're just going to go for 10 of these, so let's do it together. So we're going to pull down and look up to the ceiling, and gently come out of it. So that's 1. Let's keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to move the towel, then feel free. I'm just going to bring mine a little bit higher, so I'm going to bring my hands up a bit more, and I'm going to keep going. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, and the last one, and that's 10. Okay. And again, if you want to do another set of those, please feel free to do so. I just wanted to introduce you to that self-mobilization technique, because it's very nice, really good for the neck, really good if you're sat at work a lot on your computer, at a desk. That's a really nice one just to do throughout the day. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling a little bit more chilled, a little bit looser. So we're just going to spend the rest of the session just doing some very basic stretches, they're really fundamental for your movement on the pole. And we're also going to focus a lot on breathing throughout those movements, because when we do kind of extreme positions on the pole, suddenly our breath becomes quite tight because, you know, we're contorted in some fashion. So hopefully these exercises are just going to teach you to breathe in those end ranges of movements, but in a nice gentle way. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is kind of working on that rotation whilst working with the breath. So I'm just going to bring my broomstick against the back of my head or the just top of my shoulders even. And I'm just going to either hold on here or you can wrap your arms over the top. Just do whatever feels comfortable. So I'm going to just first talk you through the full movement that we're going to do, and then I'll count you through. So we're going to rotate as far as we can to one way, and very quickly you can see that I'm kneeling down. You can do this or you can sit cross-legged, whatever feels comfortable, but you do want to be seated, okay, because we're trying to stop the pelvis and the lower back from taking over. If you notice that when I do this up, I get a lot of movement through the pelvis and the lower back. So by doing this, I'm just really isolating as much as possible the upper back rotation, okay? So kneeling down, I'm going to rotate as far as I can. You're going to just go to your maximum point. You're going to take a really nice deep breath. So you're going to make a concerted effort to make the breath deep, okay? Because I know normally you'd go to this position, you'd be like, okay? But I don't want you to do that. I want you to go, okay? And even that wasn't very deep, but you're going to work on it. And then once you've done that, you're going to just go a tiny bit further, and then you're going to come through and do the same on the other side. So you're going to go as far as you can. Deep breath, push a little bit more, and then come back through, okay? So I want to keep that technique up the whole time. I'm going to count you through, okay? And let's go for it. So rotate, deep breath, and push a little bit more. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Last one now. And that's 10. Gently come out of it. Well done, that's really good. We're just going to do one set of those because they can be a little bit intense, and we do want to try and keep things nice and calm for today. Okay, but hopefully that just shows you how you can actually improve your breath into that end range, because it does feel a bit restricted, and hopefully by the end you felt that you could take a deeper breath even in that fully rotated position. Okay, we're going to use our foam roller for this next stretch. So this is just a very gentle overhead stretch to add. Okay, so we're going to go into kind of a child's pose type position, so kneeling down but keeping the knees together. We're then going to roll the foam roller away from us, just letting the arms come up overhead, dropping the chest down. And now as you're doing this, because we're in this child's pose position, you won't really be able to arch the upper back too much. So the stretch is going to be just in the shoulders, or as much as we can isolate just in the shoulders. And we're going to just drop all the way down. If you feel like you need something higher, you can use blocks instead, by the way, okay? But again, we're not doing anything intense. The point is just to go into the movement, okay? And we're just going to relax here, taking some nice deep breaths again. They may feel restricted again, as I was saying before, just because we are in this extreme position, but that's okay. We're just trying to get as steady and gentle breaths as possible. Now, when you're here, I want you to think about lifting the shoulders up towards the ears and then just relaxing the chest down, okay? And we're just gonna chill out here for a minute. Just gonna bring the roller slightly further up. So if it's in an uncomfortable position, just move it, that's fine. We're going for a relatively passive position here, so other than keeping the shoulders up towards your ears, we'll just try and relax down. Okay, and gently coming out of that. Okay, and we're just going to pop the foam roller out the way. Okay. So bring yourself onto all fours. We're going to just go through some cat and cows, okay? So we're going to drop the belly down towards the floor, lifting the head up, lifting the sit bones up to the ceiling, and we're going to take a nice deep breath in. And then we're going to breathe out. We're going to round back up towards the ceiling, and we're just going to repeat that movement. So breathing in, and then coming back through and breathing out. And let's keep going. So that's 2. 3. 4. 5. Okay, we're going to do some nice big rotations now. So I want you to think about trying to like get your rib cage out to as far as you can one way, and then you're going to drop it all the way down to the floor. Push the other side rib cage out to the other side, all the way up to the ceiling, rounding out the back and just repeating that movement. So that's 1 rotation. Make it as big as you can. Really feel the stretch through that lower back. That's 2. 3. 4. Keep breathing throughout. 4. The last one on this side. And that's 5. Let's change direction. 1. 2. 3. 4. And last one. And that's 5. Okay, from here we're going to bring one arm underneath, so we're going to thread the needle, bringing the hand between the arm and the back leg. We're going to drop that shoulder down towards the floor, just bending that arm. If you want to make it a bit bigger, you can bring the arm up over your head just to get a bit more rotation. Otherwise you could just keep that on the floor. And just take some nice deep breaths here. Okay, bringing that hand back, push up, unthread, and we're going to rethread through the other side. And again, you can leave the hand on the floor or you can bring the arm out to get a good rotation. And keep breathing. And gently coming out, give yourself a little shake, give your shoulders a little shake out, and we are done for today. Hopefully you're feeling nice and stretched out, a little bit looser than you were beforehand. And just remember, this is a really nice session to do if you're feeling a little bit domsy after any workouts. If you've enjoyed the content that I've given you today, or if you've enjoyed my teaching style, then please check out my website. It's www.poledancing-therapist.com. I've got lots of memberships, different memberships available with lots of videos and tutorials, not just for stuff like this, but also for pole dancing as well. So as you know, I'm a sports rehabilitator and a pole dancer, so I like to merge together these two skills to give you the safest training possible. If you've got any questions, then feel free to get in touch.